Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Grim the Lord Assault here with another news podcast video channel update arrangement. I apologize for not having more content, but it was a busy weekend, so I gotta play the cards I'm dealt, and here we are. So I just want to discuss a few things going on recently. And first off, I want to talk about the new game I streamed on my channel the other day. On my day off was Digimon Story Time Stranger. I've been looking forward to this game a lot, and it's very much lived up to expectations. A lot of people will say that there's a second coming of sorts of turn-based RPGs. I really hope it's true. So far, all we got is this and Expedition 33, and unfortunately, while Expedition 33 did get a lot of coverage, not so much for Time Stranger. There were a few VTubers that streamed this game exactly once because there is a popular VTuber in it named Sayu, voices one of the characters. So they all did their obligatory one stream session of it. Unfortunately, it's a very big game, so that's only the tip of the iceberg for most people. And I've only found one VTuber that actually finished the game, so to each their own, but it is a great game. A lot of people are missing out, and they're going to end up sleeping on this because it's not getting the coverage that it really should. But I do think it's a genuinely one of the best RPGs we've seen in a long time. Maybe that's the turn-based fanboy in me. Maybe it's the Digimon fan in me. But regardless, I'm having a ton of fun playing it so far. And I do plan on featuring it more on the channel. Not really sure to what consistency. The only issue I have with Time Stranger is when I was going to do all the Digimon games. Well, the ones that I had, the recent ones, kind of building up to this. But nobody was watching them. And it was a lot of effort to make those videos because they're higher resolution. So I scrapped that and was just going to play Digimon on my own for fun. And so I may still do some of it off stream, some of it on stream. I don't know. Because I don't know if I'm going to bother going through all the effort of setting up a stream every time I play it. But then again, if I'm going to sit down for a proper, multi-hour gaming session, I might as well be streaming it. So we'll see. But the plan is to have it on the channel. It's probably not going to be like a main regular thing. It's going to be sort of a days off or when I've got extra time between shifts or whatever. To just kill some time. But it will be there. As far as feedback on what I think of it so far, specifically, definitely a huge upgrade from the older ones. And the previous Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth games were excellent games, by the way. Highly recommend them if you like turn-based RPGs. If you like this sort of stuff, definitely, if you've enjoyed Time Stranger, if you haven't played Cyber Sleuth, go back and play Cyber Sleuth because it's a great game. Great set of games. There's two of them because there's the original Cyber Sleuth and there's Hacker's Memory. And as far as differences go, obviously presentationally, it's a huge step forward. It's really nice to see a Digimon game that gets proper, modern HD rework graphics because Digimon's always been kind of niche, even in Japan, popular as it was. The Digimon games we've gotten have always seemed kind of like B level or even just single A level games. They've never gone, Namco's never gone all in, or Bandai, on making big over-the-top Digimon games, unfortunately, because honestly, Digimon's way better than Pokemon, and this game, more than anything, proves that beyond a shadow of a doubt. There's so much potential in this franchise, and it feels like they're finally just starting to tap into it, so hopefully this is just the beginning of a series of awesome games. Each one of these games, by the way, is like 50 hours to play, so highly recommended. If you like one, check them out. There's more of them. There's hundreds of hours of Digimon just waiting for you guys if you're willing to dive in. So it's great to see Digimon getting like a proper AAA release. We've got English vocals this time, which is great. Even if they are a bunch of obscure voice actors, it's fine. The story is good so far. I think it's gonna edge out on the better side of things story wise. Doesn't seem like it's gonna be as dark and gritty as Survive was, Digimon Survive, but it's still gonna be very good. Way better than even the Cyber Sleuth games were, which is pretty impressive. Cyber Sleuth games kind of played it safe, went with the streamlined story just for the sake of motivating things, just giving a reason for Digimon, right? And but this game is definitely stepping it up considerably. Gameplay-wise, again, a lot of depth here, a lot of really interesting things going on. They made some interesting deviations from the previous titles. The biggest of which is they've added, again, a lot of complicating factors here. For starters, you can digivolve on the fly now, which is nice. Before, you always had to run back to the lab, which was kind of a pain. You still have to go back to a separate location to use the Digimon farms, But I was surprised to find out that all the Digimon sitting in your bank are still getting experience points. So even if they're not in the battle or even in the backup for your battle, you can still switch in and out between like a back row. Those Digimon are still collecting experience, so everyone's still gradually leveling up, which is nice. On the downside, though, progression is slowed to a crawl in this one. I really liked how quick the progression was in Cyber Sleuth. Digimon would level up fast. They would often, if they were a lower level and they were tagging along, would gain several levels at once. It's definitely been slowed significantly. Digimon are only gaining a little XP at a time. There doesn't seem to be any way to speed that up. Also, they've changed the way the battles work. There's no more random battles. Instead, because people hate random battles, that's always been the common feedback for any turn-based RPG, which is kind of unfortunate, because when you're going to get into a game it's a little more grindy like Digimon, you want the random battles because it's part of the function. So to take the random battles out and then to slow down progression, I feel like it's a little counterintuitive. But I do know that towards later areas, when you get stronger Digimon, you can pretty much just go out with your strongest one into an area, and then just, because you can attack enemies before initiating battle, so you can wipe out the enemy before battle initiates. And if you got a stronger one, you just kind of run through the area, wipe everything out, so you're farming experience, you're farming scan data, and then exit the area, re-enter it, and do it again. So that's kind of how the grind takes place. But I just kind of wish the grind was just let us have the random battles, or don't emphasize the grind. I feel like it should be one or the other. It's a little less balanced that way. But again, not a big deal. It sounds like there are other ways to deal with it, so as I proceed through the game, we'll see if that really holds it up or not. The other alteration they've made I'm not the biggest fan of is they've gated your ability to digivolve to your, what they call the agent level, which is similar to the sleuth rank or hacker rank you had in the previous games. Not a big fan of this, because it's gating how long I can have to wait before even champion levels. I feel like champions should be available right off the bat. I shouldn't have to wait till I'm a third of the way through the story to get champion level Digimon. Fighting with nothing but being forced to fight with nothing but rookies for a long time doesn't jive with me so well. Also, apparently there's a lot of depth with the personality traits and a lot of depth to these agent skills that have been added. And apparently a lot of these agent skills, in addition to the rank, are required for a lot of the Digivolutions. So apparently Digivolution requirements are much harder than they used to be. But you're still limited the way you used to be. There's still max levels. You can only put, I assume, so many attribute points on, because they do have the same stats, the ABI and camaraderie, even though it's got different names now. But it's still there, so I assume those are still factors and still limiters besides the obvious HP and stuff. And apparently loading now, they've kind of shifted gears from, like, I guess you would say just farming, and evolving and devolving is still going to be a thing, but apparently loading is kind of the new way to really generate a lot of levels and high stats quickly, because before, the way loading worked was basically one Digimon ate a bunch of other Digimon to gain levels quicker. So if you had extra Digimon around, and when you get towards the end of the game, you'd probably have, because you got like 5 farms, you've probably got a few farms that are full of Digimon you don't even use or need. So you'd raise them in the farm, and, you know, between missions or whatever, and then you just feed them to the whatever one you want to level up quickly. You know, especially if you're devolving and redigivolving, you know, you devolve them to a lesser form, feed them a bunch of weak Digimon that'll get them to level up quickly, and hopefully you can evolve them again that much sooner. But apparently that's kind of the main feature now, because you can do it on the fly. So, but it does apparently carry bonuses as well. It will increase their potential and their statistics, and it's also a lot easier to get Digimon now, because again, you can do it on the fly, and scan data seems to come through pretty quickly. So, you know, given just the sheer number, the volume of enemies, even though there's no random battles, there's still a lot of enemies around to fight. And if you choose to stop and fight them all, you're going to be able to make a lot of Digimon, and they're all going to be sitting in your bank collecting experience. So you might as well use those Digimon and, you know, get what evolutions you can out of them, and then load them into your main party, as it were, to buff them up, which makes sense, and I'm okay with that. So we'll see how all these progression details even out as I play through the game. I think I'm going to like it, though. It seems like, even though it's a little slower in that regard, it does still definitely is very hand-holdy in the beginning. The older games were also guilty of that. The game forced you to wait a really long time before you could actually play the game. A side effect, I think, of modern gaming, unfortunately. You know, they gotta spell everything out for everybody just in case, make sure it's accessible. always been kind of a thing with RPGs too. You know, you've got that introductory mission, I guess you could say, or the tutorial quest, and they just get longer and longer as you get newer games. Because it would be nice to really be able to just dive in and just really rip right into it. But at least they're framing it in a really interesting story, so it's not boring. You know, it's not a grind, but it is unfortunate every time you try to explore and the game's like, no, you have to do this first. And you're like, look, you finally gave us some bigger areas to wander around in. So let me do a little wandering, you know, let me poke around, let me see what the shops are. Apparently we're actually going to lose access to an area for a while, so we'll lose access to those shops, which I didn't know, so, for a while, we'll eventually get that access back, but, yeah, it's a little weird. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but the areas are bigger, there's more to explore, more things to check out, and I'm all for that. That's cool stuff. And I can't wait to get to the digital world. That's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I've seen shots and screenshots and clips. It looks great. I can't wait. Lots of good Digimon in here. As far as the fan and the roster selection goes, generally really good. We finally get Chimeramon in the game. We finally get Millenniummon, although only the original form. We finally get other popular ones like Parrotmon's in there. Of course, the new Digivolutions from Tri and Kizuna Drive and all. And the newer series, they're all in there, which is great. It's all good stuff. The only critical thing I would say otherwise is they didn't add a lot of stuff outside of really the original show. A lot of minor Digimon from the first scene. It's great that Centaurismon's finally in a game. But did I really need, what was it, Sheriffmon, I think, is the one, and some of the others. It's great we got Mummymon and Arukenimon. They did bring back some unique Digimon from Digimon World 3, like Bearmon, I think they call him Kumamon now, and his Digivolutions from that game. They got Kodamon, who was the samurai bug type thing. Unfortunately, no Monmon. But, you know, we've got Arukenimon and Mummymon and Malomyotismon, who hasn't been around for a while. So, some really great throwbacks, but also a lot of, like, minor stuff, you know. There's Kiwimon, you know, there's stuff from the first 2 seasons that, like, we probably could have gotten more stuff from seasons 3, seasons 4. Another weird decision that they made was because they recently revealed in Digimon Adventure Tri who the original Digidestined were, and we got their Digimon, but we didn't get their Sovereign forms, so the Holy Guardian Digimon are not in there. So we got their Mega forms, we got their Rookie forms. They invented different ones in between for some of them, which is kind of a bummer. We didn't get, I think it was Rearise had the previous, like, full list of the original Digidestined Digimon. And we only got, you know, some of the benchmarks from that. And I feel like we should have gotten that in there, because it would have been a great addition, story and theme-wise. And it also would have played into Digimon World, or sorry, the Season 3 Digimon as well. Would have been a nice contribution for them. We do have more Armored Digivolutions, all the canon ones from Season 2. It would have been nice if we gotten all of them, because believe it or not, in the card game, they made variants of all the Digi-Armor for all the Digimon from that season, including Stingmon. So it would have been great to have gotten all those different variations in there. But at least we got the official ones now for all of them. So, you know, it's not like there's one Digivolution official-wise for Hawkmon and one for Armadillomon. We actually got the expanded roster, which is nice. DNA Digivolutions can be done in battle now. Of course, you can jog rest them outside to make it permanent, which is all good stuff. And but yeah, so a lot of good additions, but it did feel like we got a lot of, like, secondary, tertiary, original seasons characters. We didn't get anything new from Data Squad or from Season 4. I can't remember. Frontier. We didn't get anything new from Frontier, which is unfortunate, because Frontier was a great season. Well, we did get some of the villains, but only some of them. We didn't get all of them. It would have been nice to have had Duskmon and some of the others, but it would have been nice to have more from newer stuff. But it's still good things, and it's impressive that they gave us a bigger selection of Digimon, because since they're increasing everything else, the graphics are so much better, the gameplay is so much deeper, and the story is so much more developed. It's impressive that they were still able to retain almost everything from the old games and still give us all this new stuff on top of it. So, again, really impressive job from Bandai here working on this game. And I'm a huge fan of it, and I hope more people play it, because it is great. A great turn-based RPG. As far as other stuff, I did finally watch some Subnautica 2 footage. Subnautica was a game. I was a huge fan of the original. It was a big feature on my original channel. I was going to stream it some more, but nobody was watching, so I kind of dropped it. But I still like the original Subnautica. I didn't like Below Zero. I didn't like certain behind-the-scenes politics that happened in between those two titles. And I didn't like the ending result because they were emphasizing story, but they didn't want to hire a proper writer. That was all, diversity, equity, inclusion hires. So we got a story-emphasized game with a really bad story. Just some of the worst stuff you'll ever see. And the gameplay suffered, the atmosphere suffered, and it wasn't a fun game to play, at least not for me. And so Subnautica 2 I was wary of, still very cautious, and while it does appear that they've tried a different direction again, which is good, they're not trying to brute force the story thing, but the direction they chose to take is, first of all, it's early access again, which I am completely against anymore. It's defeating the purpose of early access, Kickstarter kind of stuff. It's supposed to help you get going. Right, when you do these crowdfunder projects, it's because you're independent, you don't have a lot of money, but you want to you want to have some more resources so you can make a better game. And the idea is that you make the better game, and it does so well that you can take those assets to build up your company and make a better effort for the next title, right? To make an actual proper game with a proper company. But instead, they're doing it again, which to me screams of cheese and cheapness. They want their money up front, before they start working, and I don't like that. I don't agree with that at all. Make the game, okay? You've made your money. You've made multiple versions of it. You made the VR version, the home console release, multi-platforms. You've made the DLC sequel, right? Below Zero, you made money on that. There's no reason to keep crowdfunding now. You're not an independent company anymore. If you're still struggling, it's because you made bad decisions. Someone's mismanaging things. You got too many extra employees or something. We don't need, it shouldn't be necessarily a AAA game at this point, right? But it should be like a full-fledged, Unknown World should be a full-fledged developer making a full-fledged game that gets released, a release date, okay? With reasonable development time. They can have a few years. The problem with early access is you get a lot of conflicting information, and all it does is drag out the development. Okay, Subnautica, the original, took over 10 years of development time, which was insane. Same thing with 7 Days to Die, still in development, right? 15 years later. All it does is slow things down, and they're constantly walking things back, or getting rid of features that were actually good, that improve the game, because they're getting bad feedback, because they're getting the common... the lowest common denominator of feedback now, right? So that's the problem with early access. So Subnautica 2, I don't think is going to be good based on that, largely, and also because they've shifted focus a lot to the grind. And they have. People will argue against this. And look, there's nothing wrong with liking the grind, guys, okay? There was a lot of feedback for the original game. People wanted it to, because you're underwater, they wanted you to have to wait 5 minutes to repressurize every time you entered or exited your underwater habitat. Okay, they wanted certain items to craft to take up to 10 minutes to craft one object. So the idea being that you would fill your room with fabricators so that you could make more than one thing at a time, which also means having a lot of redundant power supplies, extra generators, just slowing the progress down to a crawl so that you can run around collecting shit for more and more. The original game wasn't a crafting game. It was an exploration game that had crafting and survival mechanics in it. It was all meant to emphasize the exploration bits. You needed to make more submersibles and more technology because you needed to go deeper in order to progress in the game. That's not the way these are designed anymore. Now they're designed with the emphasis on just building a functioning base, and you need more stuff. So you go out and you look for stuff so you can build your base, and that's it. Right? That's all that the game is right now. And I don't have any faith that they're going to fix it because, again, they're not emphasizing development behind the scenes. They're emphasizing other things. And they're emphasizing greed, most of all. Even, people can say, oh, well, it's the producer. Producers were bad, yes, but the developers aren't any better. They're absolutely not. So this was a great team once upon a time. I have a feeling they let go of anyone that was worth anything. They just changed philosophies midway. I don't know. Or it's the leadership, whatever the problem is. I don't like the looks of it. It doesn't look fun. So I'm definitely not going to be playing it. Not wasting money. Certainly not on a game that's not finished again. Just to sit and wait for 10 years for them to do it. Nah, Subnautica 2 is not for me, guys. To everybody who enjoys it, that's fine. There's people that like that stuff. But yeah, it's not what I'm looking for. I like my exploration games, I like my survival games, but I'm not into crafting for the sake of crafting, right? I'm not a Minecraft guy, so that's where I stand on it. We're not done with the wrestling. I just took a little break because I did a lot of it, and you know, like I said, I had a rough weekend, so I haven't been able to get a lot of projects done. So that's where I am right now. We're just I'm cruising along. I might do some more footage today, probably not, but I am off tomorrow, so I only got the 2 days off a week, guys, and that's what I got to work with. So whatever time I got in between is what I'll figure out how to manage, and in between we'll see how it goes. So hope you guys enjoyed the content, and I hope you found this update interesting or useful. Until next time, this is Grim signing off saying, stay salty.